Choosing an energy company raises many questions. Constellation can answer all of them with energy solutions that fit your needs. Energy made efficient, simple, insightful, and flexible. That's what makes Constellation America's energy choice. Learn more at constellation.com/energy.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Partners in Health and Biz with your host, Gail Dixon. Tune in every Saturday, 9 a.m. for great shows about obtaining and maintaining health, business, and finance. Learn from the experts here at PIHradio.net. And now, broadcasting from the Partners in Health and Biz studio, here's Gail.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to my show. Welcome to Partners in Health and Biz. We are broadcasting live from our Columbia, Maryland studio this morning. And we just want to say welcome to any new listeners who have just tuned in, have never listened to the show. We are so happy you could join us this morning. Today we have a very special show planned for you. And also thank you for the listeners who have been with me for more than 7 years now, following and calling in. We do appreciate that. So today's show, everything you need to know about diabetes. Everything you need to know about diabetes, at least as much as we can share with you within 30 minutes. Of course, we would have to have a part 2, part 3. This is such an important topic, such an important diagnosis and illness. And so if you'd like to call in to the studio this morning, the call-in number is 347-945-7433. We can probably only take 1 or 2 callers this morning. 347-945-7433. Press 1 if you have a question or a comment, and you don't have to do anything if you just want to continue to listen to the show. So get pen and paper ready. Remember, all shows are archived and available on demand for your listening pleasure in case you're not listening live at this time. And then we also broadcast on Spreaker.com, Spreaker, Spreaker.com, where you can listen to Partners in Health and Biz at 10 o'clock. And you can hear my partner, Wendy Meyerhoff, and she broadcasts on every other Saturday. So she broadcasts on the first and third Saturdays of each month, and I broadcast on the second and fourth Saturdays of each month. So let's just get right to it. Diabetes. How many of you know of someone who has this condition, this disease? It's very common, and so diabetes, in case you didn't know, because it is a condition that impairs the body's ability to process blood glucose, otherwise known as blood sugar. Some of you that have diabetes, especially the older generation, refer to it as their sugar diabetes. They would say, I have sugar diabetes. Well, in the United States, the estimated number of people over 18 years of age with diagnosed and undiagnosed diabetes is 30.2 million. Wow. So the figure represents between 27.9 and 32.7% of the population. So without ongoing careful management, diabetes can lead to a buildup of sugars in the blood, which can increase the risk of dangerous complications, including stroke and heart disease. Why are we having this conversation this morning? Why am I sharing with you this morning this information? Well, it needs to be known, and of course, the month of November is American Diabetes Month, which means most organizations are doing as much as they can to get the word out about the diabetes and how it affects the body, and what we can do to prevent it. Now, there are different kinds of diabetes that can occur. So some folks think it's just one type. But there are different kinds of diabetes, and managing the condition depends on the type. Not all forms of diabetes stem from a person's being overweight, as some of us believe, or leading an inactive lifestyle. In fact, some are present from childhood. So that distinguishes the two types of diabetes. If it occurred for you in childhood, then it's not type 2 diabetes, it's type 1 diabetes. Okay, so there are 3 different types of diabetes. There are 4 different types of diabetes. And the 3 major diabetes types can develop, which are type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes. Okay, so what about type 1? It's also known as juvenile diabetes, which I was saying. Juvenile diabetes, this type occurs when the body fails to produce insulin. People with type 1 diabetes are insulin dependent, which means they must take artificial insulin daily just to stay alive. So if you know of anyone who has type 1, this is probably the more dangerous type to have, the juvenile diabetes, because it has to be monitored much more stringently, carefully, and consistently than type 2. And so now we progress on to type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes affects the way the body uses insulin. Still makes insulin. Unlike type 1, the cells in the body do not respond to it as effectively as they once did. So one, the body is failing to produce insulin in type 1 diabetes, and in type 2 diabetes, the body still makes insulin. Unlike type 1, the cells in the body do not respond to it as effectively as they once did. So this is the most common type of diabetes, the type 2. And according to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, and it has strong links with obesity. So that's the second type of diabetes. Let's move on to the third most major type of diabetes, and that's called gestational diabetes. So this type occurs in women during pregnancy. It doesn't happen throughout your life, but during pregnancy, a woman can develop what's called gestational diabetes. This is when the body can become less sensitive to insulin. Gestational diabetes does not occur in all women and usually resolves after giving birth. Of diabetes include monogenetic diabetes and cystic fibrosis-related diabetes. Okay, so those are the types of diabetes. However, we can have pre-diabetes. So what is pre-diabetes? Pre-diabetes refers to some people as having, or doctors have referred. You may have gone to the doctor, and they'll say you're borderline. You don't have diabetes yet, but you're pre-diabetic. And what that means is that you have a propensity that if you don't monitor yourself and if you don't start doing healthy things, that you will progress from prediabetes to full-blown diabetes. Doctors, I said, refer to some people as having pre-diabetes or borderline diabetes when the blood sugar is usually in the range of 100 to 125 milligrams per deciliter. Normal blood sugar levels sit between 70 and 99 milligrams or DL, decimeters, whereas a person with diabetes will have a fasting blood sugar that's higher than 126 milligrams deciliters. So if your blood sugar levels are higher than 126, then you know you are diabetic. The pre-diabetics or pre-diabetes level means that blood glucose is higher than usual, but not so high as to constitute diabetes. People with prediabetes are, however, at risk of developing, as I said, type 2 diabetes, although they do not usually experience the symptoms of full diabetes. So now, this is something that I'm sure most of you want to know, and that is, what are the risk factors? Because there are risk factors for prediabetes and type 2 diabetes that are similar. So the risk factors include being overweight, having a family history of diabetes, having a high density lipoprotein, HDL cholesterol level, lower than 40 milligrams slash deciliters or 50 milligrams deciliters. If you have a history of high blood pressure, that's another risk factor. Having gestational diabetes or giving birth to a child with a birth weight of more than 9 pounds. I know someone who had a baby that was born. The baby was about 11 pounds. Wow, that was a big baby born. But the person I know has not developed diabetes, but that can put you at a greater risk when you have developed diabetes, the gestational diabetes during pregnancy, and your baby is born weighing more than 9 pounds. Now, a history of polycystic ovary syndrome. Polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, is another risk factor. Being of African American, such as myself, Native American, Latin American, or Asian Pacific Islander descent puts you at a higher risk of developing diabetes. Being more than 45 years of age and having a sedentary lifestyle. If you recall, I did a show on how sitting is bad for you and how sitting for long periods of time and not moving can actually, studies have shown, cause you to be more at risk for developing diabetes. So if you have a sedentary job where you sit all day, you need to move around. You need to at least get up and move every half an hour, be moving some type of way. And every hour, get up and walk around for about 2 minutes. Some of you can't do that, but if you can't, at least move in your chair, move your legs, move your arms, stretch, do something so that your body, the blood in your body is circulating. Which, if it doesn't circulate, it can sit and it can cause all kinds of problems, including it can lead to you developing diabetes. So if a doctor identifies that a person has prediabetes, they will recommend that the individual makes healthful changes that can easily stop the progression to type 2 diabetes. You can lose weight and have a more healthful diet, eating more fruits and vegetables and moving and exercising. That helps to prevent diabetes, even if you've been diagnosed with prediabetes or borderline diabetes. So this is something that you need to definitely be aware of. There are insulin problems that can develop. Some people that have diabetes are not on insulin, and because their doctor has been able to control their blood sugar levels with a prescription pill, and they do not have to take insulin, which requires a needle. Insulin is you're giving yourself a shot of the medication that's going directly into your blood system, your bloodstream, to control your diabetes. So doctors do not know the exact cause of type 1 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, also known as insulin resistance, has clearer causes. And insulin allows the glucose from a person's food to access the cells in your body to supply energy. Insulin resistance is usually a result of the following cycle. So if you're on insulin, this is a person who has genes or an environment that make it more likely that they are unable to make enough insulin to cover how much glucose they eat or how much sugar. Or the body tries to make extra insulin to process the excess blood glucose. Or 3,